Thousands of residents in Western Australia's Pilbara region are being warned to stay inside as severe tropical cyclone Rusty edges towards land.
The northwest coast of Australia is bracing for the arrival of Cyclone Rusty. This strong wind and rain in the town of Port Hedland, just a small foretaste of what's to come. We're talking Noah's Ark, warned a local weatherman, predicting phenomenal amounts of rainfall.
Jeez, look at that. I can hardly see.
It's blowing through too.
That wind has really started to pick up.
This is Pardue Roadhouse today, taking a belting from Cyclone Rusty.
Pardue in the Pilbara has borne the brunt of Cyclone Rusty, taking a direct hit as the monster storm crossed the coast. In daylight, the extent of the damage became clear. Buildings torn apart and widespread flooding.
Heavy rain across much of Queensland has caused flash flooding and chaos on the roads. An emergency flood warning has been issued for the Lockyer Valley, with residents told to evacuate if necessary. Rain is forecast for much of the state again today. This year's wild weather has already delivered Brisbane more than half its annual rainfall.
The Weather Bureau has crunched the numbers and judged summer as a record breaker. John Schluter looks back at the eventful season and forward to autumn.
It'll go down in history books and our memories as a wild season. 10 tornadoes menaced the state. Cyclonic winds battered the southeast, and flooding rain hit vast areas of the state thanks to ex-tropical cyclone Oswald.
It was as if a Category 1 cyclone was coming down the coast.
The number of rainfall records smashed was a record in itself.
We had 100 daily rainfall records broken this summer.
But not everywhere. The areas in blue show very much above average rainfall, only from Rockhampton south to the border.
Amazing pictures from Mount Etna. Now, it's been erupting over the last couple of weeks, and it's been sending plumes of ash flying into the air as it continued this series of recent eruptions. And at this time, though, it appears to have happened at a new crater at a height of nearly 3,000 metres. And despite all the
Here in Beijing's Tiananmen Square, guards are busy keeping up with the return of thick smog. Haze mixed with a sandstorm on Thursday to blanket the capital in toxic levels of air. A reading of hazardous particle matter, or PM 2.5, showed levels well beyond recommended daily intake. Air quality fell to the worst on record in January. It's become a major challenge for new leader Xi Jinping, who will become president at the national...
Jerry Jardos braved the cold and rain to walk at Presque Isle, and he couldn't believe what he saw. Thousands of dead fish washed up along the shoreline of Presque Isle Bay.
Amazing, amazing. I can't believe how many. There's got to be millions of them. I'm telling you, it's amazing.
Talked about the latest developments. Now we want to show you the new developments tonight. Hundreds of people calling the newsroom and telling us about the mystery boom they heard and felt all across our region. We have been working throughout the evening trying to get some answers about what happened and why. New tonight at 11, 13 News reporter Alana Otler back in with those new details and a 13 News exclusive. Alana?
April, like I said before, we went everywhere to see who felt the boom. We are working for you to figure out what caused the shake. And one person...
Our third story out front, a Florida man swallowed by a sinkhole. This is a bizarre story. It happened inside this home. Jeff Bush was sleeping in bed when the ground opened up underneath him, and then he just fell into the earth. He screams for help were heard throughout the house.
The sinkhole, about 30 feet wide and 100 feet deep, could well extend underneath the two neighboring homes, both less than 40 feet away.
A 5.5 magnitude earthquake in China's southwestern Yunnan province has injured at least 30 people on Sunday. 3 of the injured are reportedly in serious condition. According to state media, the quake destroyed almost 1,800 homes and damaged more than 83,000 others.
Look at that. They're not even in the right spot. Make me cuss the word. Holy crap, look at this. Look at this guy.
At least 9 people have been found dead following a powerful blizzard that swept through the northern Japanese island of Hokkaido over the weekend. Rescue workers near the town of Nakashibetsu uncovered a family of 4. All died in their car as it was engulfed in snow. Japanese media said many local residents described Saturday's blizzard as the worst they could remember, with zero visibility and hurricane-force winds, adding to the already freezing temperatures.
This is Skyu. This winter it has received more than 5.5 meters of snow, the most ever recorded anywhere in Japan.
This might just look like an enormous pile of snow, but right underneath me here is a house.
The meringue-like snowpack is beautiful, but also destructive. The weight of all this can easily crush the houses.
Heavy rains and flooding in southwestern Ecuador leave at least 8 people dead. The storm hit the country's largest city of Guayaquil, flooding streets and stranding drivers. Officials reported that those who died included 1 person who drowned and 6 who were electrocuted. Local authorities have declared a state of emergency.
Fisheries experts are investigating what caused the death of thousands of fish on the Eyre Peninsula. The juvenile leather jackets have washed up along a 10-kilometre stretch of beaches south of Port Neal over the last week.
Absolutely incredible. I've never seen a fish kill like it in all my time travelling around the countryside.
Authorities believe unusually strong winds over several days may have caused the mass killing.
Have a big problem, and it's kind of a gross one too. Genetically mutated rats. Army snipers are going out at night hunting these things. An environmental expert says he thinks they're growing so big because they've been exposed to radiation and chemicals.
For the past 2 nights in a row, Devin Webster heard a mysterious booming sound at his home here in Chesney.
It rattled the room a little bit, the windows.
The same noise boomed through cow pens and at Barbara Lee's house near Gaffney.
For me, it felt more like it was vibrating the floors.
Neighbors tell us they don't know what's causing the sound or where it's coming from. They just say they hear it at night around 8 or 8:30.
A violent winter storm has battered the US East Coast, damaging homes in Massachusetts and causing travel chaos. The coastline was battered by 3 high tides during the duration of the storm, the worst on Friday morning when some roads in coastal towns were flooded with up to 3 feet of water. It also dropped nearly 2 feet of snow in some parts of the mid-Atlantic.
It was the strongest quake numerically in the LA area in 3 years.
Parts of Israel have been dealing with a plague of biblical proportions. Massive locust swarms are coming into the country from Egypt and are destroying crops. The clouds of insects are darkening skies in southern Israel just in time for the Jewish Passover holiday. Passover recounts the 10 biblical plagues, one of them locusts.
Golfers usually hit the links looking for a hole-in-one, but look at this picture. Mark Myhall ended up the one in the hole, a sinkhole, surrounded by his stunned golfing buddies.
I had 20 minutes down there to try to hang on. Honestly, it was more about just surviving and trying to stay calm, not move.
Get out of the way, and I say, hey, Mark, and I just saw him disappear.
Disappeared down what fellow golfer Ed Magaletta said looked like a tear in a carpet.
When I was in the air going down, I thought that was probably it, because I didn't know where I was going to land.
He landed in mud 18 feet underground in a cave-like area much bigger than the opening above. Within minutes, a ladder was put down.
A rare late-season blizzard in Western Europe is causing chaos. Heavy snow buried parts of England and stranded cars overnight, forcing some drivers to abandon their vehicles. Parts of France got up to 19 inches of snow. On Tuesday, more than 1,800 flights across Europe were canceled and thousands were delayed. A stretch of Germany's Autobahn was shut down after a crash involving more than 100 vehicles. 20 people were hurt.
Sweeping south from the UK, the snow hit northern France and Belgium hard. Germany and the Netherlands have also been suffering. Heavy snow and ice are causing major problems.
Moscow is no stranger to snow, but so much at this time of year is unusual. Nearly a month's worth fell on the city in just 24 hours. Authorities say they've cleared 300,000 cubic meters of snow since the storm began on Wednesday. And it's not just an inconvenience. The roof of this sports hall collapsed and several other buildings have been damaged.
Snow, not unexpected in Eastern Europe at this time of year. But after a relatively mild winter so far, this vicious icy blast caught many, including the emergency services, by surprise. Major roads across the country were blocked by snowdrifts of up to 3 meters as winds gusted to 100 kilometers an hour. The Hungarian Red Cross puts the number of people stranded overnight on the M1 motorway at 10,000. Many of them foreigners travelling between Budapest and Vienna. Jackknifed trucks added to the chaos. At least 2 people were killed and many others injured in a series of collisions.
Rio de Janeiro, known for its signature statue as well as its exotic wildlife. Now there's something fishy in Rio. Dead fish are washing up on the shores of Rio de Janeiro's main lagoon, and no one is quite sure why. The city's environmental officials believe a high concentration of algae that reduces the oxygen level in the water might be the cause.
We should see some right here.
In a backwater creek on Florida's southwest coast,
Florida wildlife officials are racing the clock to save lives.
There were 3 that were traveling out this way along the boat.
They're searching for endangered Florida manatees known as sea cows, gentle giants that spend their days eating plants in coastal waters and rivers. Already threatened by speedboats and cold snaps, they are now being killed by something else, a large poisonous algae bloom known as red tide, stretching from Sarasota to Fort Myers, Florida. So far this year, it has killed 184 manatees, compared to the previous record of 151 in 1996.
Several municipalities here in Colombia have been placed under a state of emergency after heavy rains caused 4 rivers to overflow their banks. Thousands of residents have been affected along the country's Pacific coast, with many in dire need of basic supplies. The severe weather system has cut off entire communities as landslides blocked off roads and bridges.
Heavy rains in Brazil triggered devastating mudslides on Monday, killing at least 16 people. The mountainous region of Rio de Janeiro state was hit by 24 hours of continuous rainfall, leaving homes damaged. More than 500 people were forced to flee, and authorities declared a state of emergency here in Petropolis.
To us, it's just, I mean, this looks like the moon.
When Mark Korb woke up Sunday morning, he noticed the man-made pond on his Newcastle property didn't look the way it did when he went to bed.
This pond is just about full. It's about 2 feet down, and this pond that is now empty was at that same level as of Saturday night. So it came up to right about here.
Mr. Korb says a few years ago he drained this pond with a pump. He says that time it took him 7 days to make it look like this. The sinkhole emptied the pond much faster.
I would guess probably 4 or 5 hours.
At its lowest level ever recorded in January. And experts, like the Army Corps of Engineers, says it all depends on climate. The biggest factors that regulate the level of the highly prized resource is rainfall and evaporation. During the previous winter season, they say we experienced lower amounts of snow, then came the severe drought, hot temperatures in the summer causing more evaporation. The chief watershed hydrologist for the Corps says there's hope the lake level will rise, but it's not going to happen in 1 year alone.
You felt it everywhere from Cape May to Manahawkin, Woodbine to North Wildwood. And all of you from Facebook to Twitter and all over social media are wondering what was that rumble through South Jersey this afternoon. Cape May County Emergency Management tells Fox 29 the South Jersey shaking was centered in Wildwood.
But tonight, we still don't know exactly what caused it. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Carrie Barrett.
It's quite the mystery. I'm Thomas Drayton. Good to have you with us. Right now, the military and the USGS aren't helping to explain it.
It has to be something really big to be witnessed in
such a widespread area of South Jersey.
The reports vary from region to region. Atlantic County emergency management officials confirmed with the U.S. Geological Survey that it was not an earthquake. The next thought was that it may have been caused by military training or maybe an aircraft flying by. Both the 177th Fighter Wing in Egg Harbor Township and Joint Base McGuire-Dix Lakehurst confirmed that none of their aircrafts were in the air at that time.
I know today's the date, but there's some loud booms going on. I'm just going to shut up and see if I can pick it up. It's the first of 2013 I've heard. There's one.
Hundreds of homes have been destroyed and thousands of residents stranded as rising floodwaters plagued large swaths of Peru. On Tuesday, the Huaura River near the town of Chuchen overflowed its banks after 48 hours of powerful rainstorms overwhelmed the river. An area fish farm was damaged, and most of the fish were killed by the rushing water. Rising water and a series of landslides left highways impassable, stranding travelers and cutting entire towns off from the rest of the country. Many area residents were forced to try to cross damaged highways and paths on foot. Rescue workers tried to reach stranded residents and pulled at least one dead body from the water, that of a child who apparently drowned after colliding with a rock.
Where could this flood have come from? We've been left with nothing. Low-lying clouds have shrouded mountains in the Xizang County in East China, creating a spectacular sea of clouds. The soft white clouds that vary in shape and form give the mountains a mystical air. The picturesque scenery was caused by 7 hours of continuous rain, and it attracted many photographers to the area, keen to capture nature at its best.
Hailstorms with hail the size of eggs have struck southern China. The storm with wind gusts of more than 100 miles per hour have left a trail of destruction in the province of Guangdong.
An unusual tornado and hailstorm has killed 24 people in southern China's Guangdong province. Local officials say 272 people were injured, with 158 of them hospitalized. The wild combination of thunderstorm, hail, and a tornado hit the region with gusting winds of 110 miles an hour. Hailstone the size of golf balls and eggs smashed windshields. Dongguan city officials says this was the strongest tornado to hit the city since record-keeping began. State-run Xinhua news agency reports more than 200,000 people have been forced to relocate. The massive storm comes just 1 week after the region was hit by another thunder and hailstorm. Property losses are still being assessed.
The world has been fixated at the astounding number of dead pigs that keep turning up in Shanghai's Huangpu River, while the counting isn't over as the bizarre event spread to other provinces.
Dead pigs are apparently washing up everywhere in China. More than 16,000 pig carcasses have choked a Shanghai river, and now 600 miles away, more pigs are washing up. On Thursday, residents in Changsha, Hunan province, reported having found 50 rotting pigs.
Our department has found isolated cases of farmers throwing their dead pigs in the river. When we're treating the bodies, we will use disinfectant. We also wear protective clothing to prevent cross-contamination from the dead pigs.
State-run Global Times reports more than 100 dead pigs were discovered in Hunan's Juzhou city. And it wasn't just pigs. One local authority says dead chickens and ducks have also appeared in Hunan. And it wasn't just in Hunan province. This newspaper from southwestern Sichuan province had a front-page report about more than 1,000 dead ducks floating on the river this week. Despite the discoveries, officials from all these places have claimed that local drinking water is safe to drink.
A discovery off the coast of Chile that has baffled authorities. Thousands of langoustines washed up in central Concepcion province. Beaches have been covered red as the Dublin Bay prawns were found. Investigators are trying to find out what has killed so many crustaceans in this case. It's too early to say whether it is natural death or an environmental crime, but police are not ruling out anything. Officers are due to go out into Coronel Bay to work out the sea temperature, electric conductivity, and most importantly, levels of oxygen. In recent years, a number of dead sea creatures have washed up on South America's Pacific coasts. Environmental experts say some possible explanations could be viruses, offshore oil exploration, and poisoned food sources.
Bangladesh is reeling after a powerful tornado tore through villages in the east of the country. The latest reports are that 20 people are dead, 200 are injured, and hundreds more are without homes. The BBC's Anbarasan Ethirajan is in Dhaka.
Hundreds were rushed to hospitals like these after a powerful tornado wreaked havoc in eastern Bangladesh. The menacing wind left a trail of destruction in many villages. More than 20 people were killed and hundreds injured. The ferocity of the wind has left many villagers in shock. The tornado destroyed hundreds of small houses, uprooting trees and cutting power supplies. Many people were trapped under collapsing mud walls. The wind was so powerful, even trucks were overturned.
This is almost unprecedented for an astronomical event. So this is one of the first times in which people have communicated using social media.
The American Meteor Society says it received a record number of reports, more than 1,000, from witnesses in 15 states, Washington, D.C., and Canada Friday night.
As many people are waking up to scenes like these, it's no surprise to hear this is likely to be the coldest March in 50 years. In Northern Ireland, work has continued to restore power to tens of thousands of homes and businesses after a major fault caused by the bad weather. As rain and snow sweep across the UK, breakdown companies are reporting thousands of call-outs, some drivers abandoning their cars altogether. The emergency services have been battling to keep up with calls.
Dramatic video has emerged of a terrifying twister that ripped through Victoria's northeast overnight. The freak weather event destroyed homes and businesses and left 20 people injured, 2 of them critically.
Oh my God! Look at the tornado! Yep. Oh my God, Mum, it is a tornado. It's like, yes. Whoa! That is insane. Holy crap. Oh my God.
What's that rail going? Oh, stop. Fuck. Power line just went. Fuck. Yeah, you watch the road. Fuck.
Ellos se salvaban varios porque ahí caían en la vertiente esa. Ya no, ya estamos todos.
Record amounts of snow are still falling, and just watch. We have a time-lapse video of the snow piling up and continuing to pile up overnight in St. Louis.
Across the Midwest, the drive is rough, and for these cars, the drive out is impossible. Cars, even snowplows, littering the sides of the interstates. It's not what spring should look like.
This massive system moved through the Midwest, shattering several records. 17 inches of snow in Springfield, Illinois, their biggest snowfall in one day on record. In St. Louis, more than 12 inches of snow fell, making for the biggest storm the city has seen in 31 years.
New records for snowfall have been set, staggering amounts from Colorado to St. Louis, and that's just the cold side of this storm.
In Florida, high winds, heavy downpours, and hail left thousands without power. Winds gusted up to 86 miles an hour at Orlando's airport. People forced inside this home improvement store by the pounding rain and wind.
Very unpleasant form of deja vu. Again, a dangerous sinkhole opening up in a residential neighborhood in Florida, and this is going on right near where the sinkhole swallowed a man asleep in his bed a few months ago.
The snow stretches right along the eastern counties of Northern Ireland. These pictures taken earlier today show farms, roads and fields blanketed under several feet of snow. In rural County Down, and for miles, the snow is stacked high, and underneath, hundreds of sheep are trapped. It was hoped lambing season would be the saving grace for farmers following a wet summer last year, but this is a catastrophic start to spring. For his family, this is the worst natural disaster in living memory.
And I was in shorts this time last year, and the sheep were going in the trees to get cover from the sun. That's how crazy this weather's gone.
An earthquake struck Mexico this morning. The U.S. Geological Survey said a magnitude 5.5 earthquake hit the southwest of Pinotepa Nacional on the Pacific coast of Mexico. Less than 10 minutes later, a second quake hit with magnitude 5.1.
Dramatic upheaval in the earth today on a small island off the coast of Washington state. Residents say it began with a mysterious sound, almost like thunder, and then something terrifying. The earth seemed to crack open.
Again, one house has been knocked completely off its foundation, and we're told many others are threatened right now, so it's still a developing situation with two houses in a very precarious situation this morning.
An earthquake measuring 6.1 on the Richter scale has struck Taiwan.
It was a dash just to hold on when the ground started shaking at around 10 in the morning.
The UN is appealing for more than $41 million to eliminate a severe plague of locusts in Madagascar. Half of the money is needed by June to try to save the country's crop production. Around half of Madagascar is currently infested, with each swarm made up of billions of insects.
2 people have been killed and another seriously injured after a wall collapsed in Melbourne on Thursday. Witnesses said there was a sudden gust of wind and the wall fell over onto the busy street.
A sinkhole suddenly opens up, swallowing a security guard. The horrifying moment captured by cameras in Shenzhen City, China. Yang Shibing was buried as people tried to reach him.
The Indian Ocean island of Mauritius has been hit by severe floods. At least 10 people have been confirmed dead after over 150 millimeters of torrential rain lashed the low-lying capital of Port Louis in under 2 hours. Prime Minister Naveen Ramgoolam cited climate change as one of the key factors in the disaster.
Flash floods in La Plata, the capital of Buenos Aires province, have left close to 60 people dead and forced 1,500 to evacuate their homes.
Nearly 1.5 feet of rain fell late on Tuesday night and trapped some people in their homes. As the water now begins to recede, more than 3,000 people are left homeless and over 80,000 residents still do not have electricity.
Cars were flooded up to their rooftops and rainwater flowed over the windowsills of houses. People had to wade out of their neighborhoods through chest-high water as the floodwaters turned the roads in La Plata into raging rivers. The water reached 6 feet high in some places, and the rains also flooded the country's largest oil refinery, causing a fire that took hours to put out.
Some officials have described the torrential downpour as the worst in living memory.
Nothing like this has ever happened in La Plata. The people still in shock at the devastation.
Holidaymakers may have been confused when they awoke this morning. They were in Torquay and not by the Red Sea. It was thousands of tons of earth collapsing which changed the colour of the water and the landscape of these cliffs.
The section of the beach underneath the cliffs here has been closed for some time, and there have been a number of smaller rockfalls recently, but the one last night was the largest by quite some way.
And we've been talking about Hitchcock, Texas, outside of Galveston, where they have had baseball and softball sized hail.
For 15 to 20 minutes. That is what is extraordinary about it. We're getting pictures in it.
Sergeant, have you ever seen anything like this in your experience?
In 25 years, I've been through hurricanes and a number of things. And with the extreme hail that we had last night for about 15 minutes, no, sir, I've not seen anything like that. It looked more like.
Victorians can expect more severe weather in the years to come, including extreme heat waves, bushfires, heavy rain and storms. The Climate Commission's latest report shows we're already experiencing levels not expected for decades.
Frequency of extreme weather events, and it's only going to get worse. Political reporter Mia Greaves joins me now. Good morning, Mia. The report showed plenty of records were broken this summer.
Yes, Sally, quite a few, including the hottest day and hottest month, capped off by the longest and most extreme heat wave on record. And the number of record hot days have doubled since the 1960s. The report also found that heavy rainfall events are increasing globally.
A magnitude 5.4 earthquake hit Baler, Aurora at past 10 this morning. The Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology says the quake's epicenter was located off Baler, Aurora. Tremors were felt in some parts of Metro Manila, including Quezon City and Makati, as well as Baguio. PVOX Director Renato Solidum told ANC the public should remain calm, but on alert for earthquakes and aftershocks.
A massive snow wall has become quite the tourist attraction in Japan. According to Japanese broadcaster NHK, the town of Sukayu saw a record snowfall of more than 18.5 feet this winter. So to get through the white stuff, they built a snow route with walls towering nearly 30 feet high. Around 600 people walked along the snow route this weekend. Some touched the wall or just took pictures. One man said he had seen the snow on TV, but being there was much more than he expected.
Peru's the latest South American country to suffer the misery of severe and deadly floods. At least 2 people have been killed, 8 more are missing. Homes and communities across the country are under threat from the rising waters.
There were similar scenes in Chuota as the town's main school closed after floodwater burst into classrooms. Authorities in the South American country have pledged emergency aid and assistance to residents affected by the flooding. A 7.1 magnitude earthquake has struck Indonesia's Papua region in the eastern part of the country. The US Geological Survey says it struck at a depth of 58 kilometres. No tsunami warning was issued. The quake struck on land at around 1:42 p.m. local time.
Torrential rain wreaked havoc in Penang, causing landslide and flash floods in several low-lying areas on Saturday. In just 3 hours, the rainfall measured up to 168 mm, which is approximately half the monthly figure.
Rescue workers have in the last 24 hours recovered a total of 11 bodies of flood victims, bringing the death toll of flood-related deaths to 26. Now there are still...
The officials say that rescue efforts to help save the affected travelers went on throughout the night following the incident.
California coast tonight, millions of Americans are dealing with strong Santa Ana winds, increasing the wildfire danger already. Winds clocked at upwards of 70 miles an hour in some places today, knocking down trees, while LA saw some huge waves this afternoon. Farther east to the Rockies and parts of Wyoming, Colorado, South Dakota, Nebraska, we're expecting a large snowstorm up to 2 feet in some places. And as that system moves to the east, much of the nation's midsection will be dealing with severe storm and high risk of tornadoes.